Hello, and welcome to Founder Freedom From Hustler to CEO, the podcast built for e-commerce entrepreneurs and small business owners who are ready to work less, earn more, and scale smarter. Today's guest is Louise Fridjofsen, a four-time founder and the powerhouse behind Martie.com, that's Martie.com, an online liquidation store that she's reshaping sustainability and accessibility in everyday shopping. This is more than a startup story, though. It's a blueprint for building a health-forward, purpose-driven company that actually changes life. Let's dive in. Welcome, Louise. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you, Stephen?
Doing awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about Martie.com and its value proposition for the world?
Yes, would love to. So Martie is kind of like TJ Maxx, if you've ever heard it, but we are online. We're the biggest online retailer. And one other big difference is we do shelf-stable grocery, beauty and skincare, more home goods and household as our categories. So we work with the staples, the essentials that you need for everyday life. This is a $650 billion industry. In this industry, we see 30 to 40% of products go into landfill every year, despite the fact that they're perfectly fine to consume. What's been happening in this space that there's been this gap in the market where you have players such as Five Below Five or the dollar store and the great brands that have great quality products really don't want to be in these stores. It really doesn't do well in terms of the value that they're creating for their brand position in the market. So Martie is a new player. We've been in market for 3.5 years. We work with the up and coming high quality brands in these categories, and we offer their products at 40 to 60% off. I will say we always have products that are 80 and 90% off, but we promise that everything will be in that bracket. There's no membership, there's no subscription. And the value prop really here is help save products from going to landfill. So this is great for the environment. And of course, accessibility. We're creating a channel where you can get quality products at really good prices.
Cool. That sounds fantastic. So what inspired you to create Martie.com?
So it's been a long ride. This is my fourth startup. I really came into this fourth startup wanting to create a company that is making people healthier. And if you want to make people healthier, really like building a big company in food is where you should spend your time. When we started looking at the market and we were trying to figure out where's the big gap, I was stepping away feeling like there's enough companies that are building products for the 1% that are better for you, healthy, and super pricey and expensive. On the flip side, we have 40 million Americans that are food insecure. 9 million of them are kids. So we started thinking, how do we build products, opportunities to get better, higher quality products for the people that really need them? And we found this gap where 30 to 40% of products go to landfill, even though they're, again, perfectly fine to consume. So we're using that challenge in our ecosystem and creating an opportunity of it. And really the key here has been building a brand that vendors want to be associated with. So we focus a lot about the brand storytelling, the sustainability aspect for vendors working with us, and really the look and feel. You should go check it out, Martie.com. It's a fun shopping experience.
Nice. So what was kind of broken in the gap in these products with these higher brands that you saw?
There's a few of them, but when you are a brand in market that have quality products that are up and coming, normally putting them in a liquidation store will not make you look great. And I think we can compare it with if you've ever been shopping the dollar store or the Five Below Five, there's a lot of products that maybe doesn't feel super high quality. Maybe you're not feeling like you're winning in life. And especially when you come to the food aisle, there's a lot of people that maybe wouldn't feel like that's a great experience from how it's presented to the assortment of brands. So there really hasn't been an experience where vendors want to be associated, where they feel like it's actually empowering their brand to work with a liquidation player. And that's been a huge gap that Martie comes in to fill. We can still offer these huge discounts, but we're getting brands, whether it is, up and coming, right, than olive oil, or it's Kind Bars, or it's Annie's Organics, or it's Aya and Goop in the beauty section. We're really getting the best brands in each of these categories to come work with us.
Okay. So in your mission for this solution, how does your company solve the problem better than what the alternatives are for these brands?
Number one, this is such a huge issue if we're looking at waste specifically, that I don't think there's one company that will solve it all. We need an array of solutions, all working from different aspects to try and minimize food waste in our system. And each of the existing solutions really fill their own gap and need in the market. And really where we come in is allowing vendors that previously didn't feel like they wanted to work with liquidation partners at all to have a partner to liquidize their inventory and make it accessible for more people at better price points.
Nice. So from a shopper standpoint, What do you think is the biggest misconception that people have about what Martie.com is doing?
It's really funny because when you go to Marty and you see all of our products being 50, 60% off, and you know that we make it very clear this is overstock inventory. It's easy to think that the inventory that we have will be stale or past expiration or in any shape or form be bad. And that is a huge misconception. Actually, every vendor that produces products, whether that is food products or beauty products or home goods products, it's a very hard process to produce products. You need to print your boxes months before the production run. You need to commit to production run months before it's time to go, which means that forecasting is hard. And you'd rather overproduce than underproduce because you don't want to fall short when you have retailers coming to buy your products. So
Right.
much of our products really have 9+ months of shelf life. What goes into that too is retailers such as Whole Foods or Sprouts, they want to see more than 12 months on shelf stable inventory. So once it's past that 12 months and it's still sitting in your warehouse, it is hard to move. So the biggest misconception is that there's anything wrong with our inventory. And it's just a very hard industry to produce physical goods.
Right.
So all of our inventory is perfectly fine, which is definitely one of the biggest misconceptions.
Okay.
And I think the other misconception is that we would force a membership on you because again, the prices are so great that people assume that you would need to pay a monthly membership, which is
Mm-hmm.
also not true. This is a come and buy whenever you feel like it and just pay for the products that you get.
That's a nice, refreshing thought.
Right.
I can think of some personal battles with a few brands that we all know and love. The membership sites are
Right.
tough. They kind of force you to
It's
buy a lot. So if
right.
you're a two-person household, you're kind of out of luck at those stores.
Right.
So that's a pretty good value prop and a deep dive on why people should look at Martie.com. So do you have a success story, either maybe from a customer viewpoint or from a mission standpoint that you might be accomplishing well?
Well, we save a lot of billion of pounds of food every year. So our first year in market, we saved about 3 million pounds from going to waste. We've now been in market for about 3 years. So we've more than 10x that amount, which is a huge success story to just see what that does to the food system. More than that, we have customers across the state. We should nationwide. Our biggest markets is New York and California, but we do have probably about 15% of our users that live in rural and remote zip codes.
Mm-hmm.
And these are users that not only need the discount, but they also have very limited options on where to buy foods. So we constantly see these super happy customers out thorough on the countryside,
Right.
reaching out, getting access at a price point that actually makes sense for them, which is super exciting. These are people that live in food deserts. Again, maybe just access to shop groceries at their local kind of like gas station otherwise.
Right.
So knowing that we make a difference in individuals' life like that is pretty exciting.
That's pretty cool. You almost made it funny about my home state of Wisconsin, because outside of the major cities, there is a lot of gas station shoppers for sure.
They
For
should
sure.
check out Marty.
Definitely. Definitely.
Right.
If you do it on your phone, people, it's not hard. So those are some really good points about, saving a bunch of edible food going to the landfills, because those are two really interesting causes, food and landfills.
Right. Yeah.
So looking ahead, what do you think trend-wise might be shaping the future of your little niche industry here?
It's an interesting time. AI is everywhere, as we know. For Marty, we're building out since probably like 2 years of really intelligent AI buying tool, which means that we can go out and find not only the best inventory, but at the best prices. And we can really deeply understand what prices we need to retail our inventory for users to get great savings and be true to our mission and mission.
Mm-hmm.
It also helps us build this organization with a very low headcount, which is very new. Like the next it's been a brag for founders and entrepreneurs and companies to say we've grown to be X people in Y time.
Mm-hmm.
And we're now stepping into this new era where the brag will really be how much revenue you can make with such a small team
Right.
as possible.
Right.
So we're seeing from an operational side, sort of how we operate is drastically shifting. The tools that we're building and how we're deploying them are drastically shifting. How we're using data with consumer-based data is highly integrated and way more advanced because data can do data better than any individual, really.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting time to really be building this company and not have too large of a costume yet in terms of staff. So we can really ride that wave. And looking at AI, there's lots of beliefs in the AI chatbots for shopping here in the near future.
Mm.
So We'll see, but there's people out there in the world thinking that the next $1 billion e-com will not even have a storefront. So how we work with chat, how we work with communication, how we work on having our products being searchable and accessible through multiple pathways, not only our own storefront, I think will be very, very important in the coming couple of years.
So marketplaces too. Yeah. I mean, those are all good paths to e-commerce expansion and distribution expansion for sure.
For sure.
That's a pretty interesting story, how you're deep into the data and the AI. Don't get lost in the AI, but yeah, you definitely want to be there. So thinking of,
it's a wild world to stay on top of, right? It's changing.
Oh, I know.
It's ever evolving and it's very fast paced. So
it is interesting. I mean, I myself have resisted for quite some time, and I've been in the agency side of things for like 16, 17 years. But recently, I would say that I'm probably on ChatGPT every day.
Oh, you have to
doing
be.
some kind of research.
Yeah.
And then it
100%.
even carries over into my personal life a little bit. So.
Oh, it should. Definitely. It will make us all, it's making us all very, very, a lot more efficient and a little bit smarter.
I think so.
Just a tiny bit.
I think so.
Yeah.
As long as we can decipher the difference between reality and mistakes that it puts out a little bit. That's what humans are for. That's what we're here for, to always be paddling. So thinking about other business owners that might be listening to this podcast, what advice would you have for business owners looking to stay ahead of the curve today, either in terms of e-commerce or retail, or you could deep dive a little bit more into the technical side of things, but potholes are always fun.
I think it's never been a harder time actually to stay in the know, because again, like the pace is so fast.
Yeah.
And AI is changing everything. It will change how we shop, and it will change how we operate, and how we build our teams and so forth. I've always been a really big fan of finding individuals and asking them questions. So before I started Martie, I found everyone I could under the sun that either was an early employee or had founded a company that was adjacent or similar, even on different markets. What exists in Europe, who's out there that I can talk to. And if I could give one recommendation now, which is funny because it's just like it's on the path that this conversation is at, talk to your AI. Download, go on a walk, and ask the questions that you have to an AI. You will be surprised, but asking how to stay ahead of the curve, asking, this is my data, what do you see? This is my retention pattern, what should I think of? Any question, and using that on your daily walks as your conversational partner is very interesting, and will probably give you a lot of help you make progress when it comes to staying ahead of the curve.
Right. It'll help you work out your thoughts. I just want to add, for people that don't know or maybe haven't even explored, but if you're a GPT user, their app is very nice, and you can talk to it and it will talk back to you. You can even pick its voice. It's pretty cool. It's a little bit better than Apple.
It's like reaching out to people and ask questions on steroids in some sense, because you don't have to do the work of getting in front of people.
Yeah, I love it. So what's next for Martie.com? I know you kind of touched on that a little bit, but did you want to mention anything a little bit specific?
Well, Stephen, we're building the Amazon for liquidation, really, if you're looking at what we're doing. So we are staying within our categories, as you know, that we operate within. Everyday staples. We want you to come get great prices for things like coffee and pasta and moisturizers with the brands that you love. And there is really this feature of, I want to make sure that when you buy kitchen appliances, that's a category that we own. When you buy things for a baby and toddler, that's a category that we own. Sporting goods, there's no reason Martie couldn't offer the best liquidation experience, overstock experience for that inventory. So we are chugging along. We're building out our buying tool to really be able to, find the best inventory in each of the categories going forward, and trying to rapidly expand to offer more great products and categories at the best prices.
Awesome. So what's the best way for listeners to get involved in Martie.com? Check you out. I don't know. Are you working the socials? Let's talk about all that good stuff.
Yeah. We are probably the most active as a consumer brand on Instagram. And Martie's a brand we don't take ourselves too seriously. So, and we always post our best deals on social. So it's a fun account to find. We're Martie Goods on Instagram. And it's just a fun experience that will give you some heads up when we have really cool brands or amazing deals. Today, we're selling Mr. Beast chocolate, $39 MSRP for 99 cents. Like, if you're on our social, you will know. So I would recommend to check it out there. And then, of course, download our app, Martie.
Nice.
Goods. And we're on Martie.com. So come chat with us and check out what we have.
That's awesome. Neat that you have an app. Love it.
Makes it easier.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Louise. This was a nice talk with Louise Fridjofsen of Martie.com, a fierce advocate of food equity and smarter sustainability. If her journey resonated with you, imagine what you could do by applying just one of her insights into your own business. To shop smarter and save products from landfills, visit Martie.com, MARTIE.com. Find their app and download that to your phone, and follow them on Instagram. And if you're a founder building boldly like Louise, reach out. Maybe you should be our next guest. Until next time, keep building smarter, not harder. Ta-ta.